Vikings, let's win this game.
Vikings fan, buckle up. It has been a wild day for this team. Out of nowhere, a major target to carry the load suddenly became unavailable. At the same time, analysts are laying out why only a veteran might be brought in to take charge and hold it down in the backfield. And then here is the part that is really heating up. Sources saying our young quarterback situation as the starter has probably ended, with two big names circling Minnesota. Stay with me, because the way this all wraps up is not just rumor, it is franchise direction. There are moments when the market smacks you in the face and says, playtime is over. And today felt exactly like that because a solution a lot of people were picturing in Minnesota just went up in smoke. The idea was simple: reinforce the run game, take pressure off the offense, and give whoever is in the huddle in 2026 a more stable foundation. But the name that had fans dreaming ended up locked down by his own team, Breece Hall. The Jets placed the franchise tag on him, reportedly worth $14.293 million on the non-exclusive version. Translation for the stands: he is not that free agent you just sign and move on with. Sure, conversations with other teams can happen, but the Jets have the right to match. And the cost to pry a running back like that away the proper way usually turns into a massive price tag. And just like that, our problem is right back on the table. The Vikings need consistent production on the ground. They need someone who can handle volume. They need a back who makes defenses respect play action. Losing Hall as an accessible option wipes out a huge shortcut because he brings explosiveness, catches the ball well, and helps in pass protection. That changes the entire look of an offense. It especially matters when you are trying to make life easier for your quarterback instead of putting everything on his arm. Let me be very clear right now. I do not like that plan just collapsed feeling this early in the offseason. The margin for error disappears fast. If you do not fix the backfield, you get stuck in 3rd and long. And then it is a grind. And anyone who lives and breathes Vikings football knows exactly how that bill comes due in December. But this is not panic time either. There is still a path forward. Free agency still has names out there, and the draft always delivers a rookie ready to claim space. The bar just got higher. Now it is less about the flashy name and more about the right fit. And I guarantee fans in purple and gold are debating that all day long, each with their own blueprint. Hold that thought, because the next story features a running back being labeled a wrecking ball. The question is, does he really solve it, or is it just paper hype? Quick favor, subscribe to the channel and jump into the comments. The fan's voice matters here. All right, if one door slammed shut, another one cracked open, and this one is starting to feel like a serious conversation because some people are pointing to a younger veteran as the practical answer for our backfield. He is not the video game name fans dream about, but sometimes that is exactly what a team needs to stop spinning its wheels. The name right now is Rico Dowdle. He is coming off a heavy workload season in 2025, with 1,076 rushing yards and 4.6 yards per carry, according to Vikings Wire when they discussed options to replace Aaron Jones Sr. The takeaway was simple: when he got his chance, he ran like a wrecking ball and helped his team control outcomes. And I can already hear the debate at the bar. Derek, does that really translate here? Honestly, I like the idea for one very straightforward reason. Dowdle does not arrive with untouchable superstar energy. He shows up hungry and with a real opportunity to be the volume guy if the coaching staff wants it. That matters in an offense built on rhythm. Rhythm comes from 2nd and 5. It comes from short 3rd downs. It comes from a defense that is worn down after taking hits up the middle. And that protects the quarterback, whoever lines up in week 1. At the same time, we cannot pretend it is a sure thing. The National Football League is ruthless with running backs. One year you are flying high, the next you are manageable. So here is the question. Does Minnesota want a clear-cut starter or a strong committee with Jordan Mason absorbing part of the pounding? Right now, Mason sits at the top of the depth chart, and he has had his moments. But if the team loses Jones, you need someone who does not make the crowd hold its breath every time the play calls for 2 yards. There is another layer here. When you plug in a back who runs with authority, you pull the defense in tighter. That opens up play action. The intermediate passing game shows up. The offense stops looking like it is constantly chasing the game. That is the difference between living off miracles and living off structure. What I find most interesting is this: the Dowdle conversation feels grounded, not fantasy. And that is usually when fans in purple and gold trust their instincts. When the team keeps it simple, it competes. When it gets too cute, it pays for it. Now hold on, because the next story shifts positions, raises the temperature, and hits the locker room right in the heart. The topic is J.J. McCarthy, and what people are saying is not light. Let me be straight with you. Sometimes you can feel something in the air before it becomes a headline, and this is one of those moments. Out of nowhere, a heavy narrative started forming about our young quarterback's future, and this is not just healthy training camp competition. This feels like a message. In the middle of all the noise, insider Jeremy Fowler poured gasoline on it. On the Dan Patrick Show, he said J.J. McCarthy's situation as QB1 has probably ended. And when someone at that level says that, it is not random. It means conversations are happening behind the scenes. Fowler also made it clear he does not expect the Vikings to cut McCarthy because of his rookie contract. But the message was clear. The team is seriously evaluating other options. And here is where fans in purple and gold start raising an eyebrow. Fowler mentioned Geno Smith and Kyler Murray as strong possibilities on Minnesota's radar. He also referenced other names a tier below, like Derek Carr and Tua Tagovailoa. That shifts the tone. Bringing in a veteran to steady the ship is one thing. Flirting with two quarterbacks who arrive with starter packages and starter egos is another. Let me be crystal clear. I do not easily buy the idea that this is just to push the kid. If you bring in someone like Geno, you are signaling that you want to win early with a quarterback who has seen blitzes, taken hits, and answered back. If you bring in Kyler, you are buying into a different kind of talent, a talent that changes how you play. So the real question becomes, is Minnesota building this offense for McCarthy or trying to squeeze McCarthy into a structure that has already chosen a different path? And I know what you are thinking. Does JJ not deserve more time? Yes, he does. And there is an important detail. Fowler even used a relationship breakup analogy. When a team starts seeing other people, it is hard to pretend everything is normal. Can it be reversed? Sure. Camp is unpredictable. Injuries happen. A player can surprise you. But this does not smell like patience. It smells like a decision. What concerns me most is the locker room effect. Players feel it. The offensive line feels it. The receivers feel it. And the fans feel it too, because it feels like the plan is shifting midstream. And stay with me, because the next piece pulls on that same thread, but with an even more specific name and voices in Minnesota talking like it is inevitable. Some rumors fade away. This one does not. When people connected to the Minnesota environment start speaking with conviction, the weight changes. And right now the message is clear. There is a veteran who could land in the Vikings' lap, and it would not shock anyone if it actually happens. The name is Geno Smith. He is right in the middle of this point guard for Kevin O'Connell's offense conversation. That quarterback operates in rhythm, plays on time, and lets the pieces around him shine. What stands out is that it is not just he is good, it is the fit. Analysts are saying Geno stylistically matches what O'Connell wants more than a quarterback who lives outside the script. Then you get a voice fans recognize, and one that does not speak just to stir the pot, Ben Lieber. On K-Fan, he shared his view that Geno could look at the situation in Las Vegas and think, that is not mine. He even suggested the franchise might be leaning toward drafting a quarterback and that Geno could want to be released to test the market. That kind of statement makes this less fantasy and more backstage movement. Let me be very clear. I completely understand the logic. You want a quarterback who does not freelance, who distributes the ball, and who keeps the offense on schedule. But there is a hidden cost. The message it sends to J.J. McCarthy. If you bring in Geno with a competition that already tilts one-way vibe, you impact the kid's mindset and the locker room dynamic. When the locker room senses that the plan has shifted, conversations shift. Even the way guys practice changes. And let me tell you something, as a 55-year-old fan who has seen Minnesota try every path imaginable, I like stability. I like knowing who runs the offense. But I do not love a quick fix that caps your ceiling. If Geno comes in, I want clarity. Is he the guy, period, or is he the bridge until McCarthy becomes that guy? That difference changes everything. And here comes the hook that makes this heavier. The next debate climbs another step. It is not just Geno makes sense. It is the other big name floating around and the uncomfortable question, does his style clash with what O'Connell wants? Some news is not just about who arrives, it is about how it changes the way your team plays. And this one hits that nerve because the name is big, grabs headlines, and at the same time raises a question you cannot sweep under the rug. Fans want wins now, but chasing wins now can turn messy if the fit is not real. The name gaining serious traction is Kyler Murray, and the one who poked at the tension was Dan Orlovsky on National Football League Live, saying he likes the idea of Kyler in Minnesota but does not love it because of the style. His read is that Kyler sees himself as a playmaker, wants the ball in his hands, wants to use his legs and break structure. But O'Connell's offense, as Orlovsky describes it, asks for something different. It asks for a point guard quarterback, rhythm, timing, operating within the design, and that is where the conversation gets serious for anyone who lives and breathes Vikings football. Kyler's talent is not up for debate. The real question is, would he embrace playing quieter, more within the scheme, more focused on distribution? If not, you get an offense that depends on improvisation. Improvisation can win you games, but it can also lose them, especially when the pressure rises and defenses force you to be patient. Let me be clear. I am not saying, do not bring him. I am saying, think it through. Because if you are seriously considering Kyler Murray, you are telling the league you want an immediate leap. And that comes with an obvious ripple effect. J.J. McCarthy. Orlovsky's comments on Kyler come right after Jeremy Fowler said J.J.'s run as QB1 has probably ended. You do not need to be a genius to read that message. If the team is studying names like this, it is because it is not comfortable betting everything on the kid right now. And here is what runs through my head as a 55-year-old fan who has seen it all in Minnesota. If you are going to pivot, pivot with conviction. Half measures are what sink you. You bring in an expensive quarterback, you change the style, you disrupt the young player's development, and if it does not click fast, you are stuck in the middle of the river with no boat. That is the scary part. Now hold on to that thought, because what comes next is not just about the quarterback. It is the domino effect on the running back room, on offensive identity, and on how this franchise is positioning itself for 2026. Man, look at the picture forming here. The Jets locked down Breece Hall and removed a shortcut from our run game. Then the Rico Dowdle idea pops up as the more grounded solution, the volume back who brings stability to the backfield. But the storyline swallowing everything else is quarterback. Jeremy Fowler saying J.J. McCarthy as QB1 has probably ended, while putting Geno Smith and Kyler Murray on Minnesota's radar. And when Dan Orlovsky says he likes but does not love Kyler because of style and what O'Connell's offense demands, you can feel an identity clash coming. Here's my bold take. If the Vikings do not quickly decide what the face of this offense is, 2026 becomes another year of almost, and I am tired of almost. Fans in purple and gold deserve a plan with conviction, whether that means fully backing JJ or bringing in a veteran and owning the political cost that comes with it. So jump in the comments. This space belongs to everyone who lives and breathes Vikings football. Stay tuned. SKOL Vikings, let's go.